Alright, picture this, it's not just another lazy Saturday morning in America. Oh no, this is one of those mornings where the sun rises like it's auditioning for a Disney movie, the birds are in full surround sound, and somewhere in the heart of Bloomington, Indiana, a town famous for its college pride, its perfect lawns, and its chronic fear of embarrassing itself, there lives a man named Calvin Parker. And Calvin is about to face something far scarier than taxes, flat tires, or expired milk. He's about to face the purest, most unfiltered form of human vulnerability, singing in public. The Parker household was awake, sort of. The air smelled like maple syrup and mild panic. A pancake flipped unevenly in a pan, landing halfway on the counter. Somewhere down the hallway, a cat knocked over a stack of unopened Amazon packages. And at the center of it all stood Calvin Parker, 38 years old, wearing pajama pants, an Indiana Whose Ears t-shirt, and the unmistakable expression of a man haunted by a childhood memory involving a school talent show gone wrong. You see, Calvin couldn't sing. Not even a little. He didn't sing badly, no, that would imply a measurable attempt. Calvin sang like a malfunctioning smoke alarm, sudden, unpredictable, and guaranteed to make everyone in a 10-foot radius question their life choices. But here's the twist, he loved singing. He sang in the shower. He sang in the car. He sang when he cooked pancakes. Unfortunately, he sang loud enough that his wife, Becky, and their 10-year-old daughter, Molly, had long since developed defense mechanisms. Becky had mastered the art of smiling through auditory trauma. Molly had noise-canceling headphones. Calvin flipped another pancake and started belting out, "Don't Stop Believin'," with the confidence of a man who absolutely should have stopped believing. Becky winced. "Calvin, honey," she said gently, "you're, enthusiastic this morning." "That's because I'm practicing," he said proudly, spatula raised like a mic. "Practicing for what?" "Torturing the neighbors. For karaoke night," Calvin declared. Becky blinked. "You're kidding." He wasn't. See, the local community center had decided to host a charity karaoke night to raise funds for the animal shelter. It was the kind of small-town event where people brought crockpots of chili, wore ironic cowboy hats, and pretended to be okay with hearing "Sweet Caroline" for the 400th time. Becky had signed him up to attend. Calvin, in a burst of misplaced confidence and caffeine, had signed himself up to perform. And that's when the trouble began. "Now, folks," the narrator intoned, "every American has a dream that terrifies them. For some, it's public speaking. For others, it's parallel parking while someone's watching. For Calvin Parker, it was standing in front of a crowd with a microphone and the terrifying awareness that he was the human embodiment of a car alarm trying to sing Bon Jovi. Calvin spent the rest of the morning rehearsing. The kitchen became his stage. The toaster was his spotlight. The cat, poor, traumatized Pickles, was his unwilling audience. He scrolled through karaoke tracks on YouTube like a man searching for his destiny. Living on a Prayer, too high. Wonderwall, too cliché. Bohemian Rhapsody, too suicidal. Finally, he landed on Ain't No Mountain High Enough. "Perfect," he said. "It's inspirational, it's classic, and it's a duet," Becky reminded him. He grinned. "Then sing it with me." Becky laughed. "Oh, no, I've seen Titanic, and I'm not going down with you." Throughout the day, Calvin practiced everywhere. In the shower, in traffic, at the grocery store self-checkout. Bloomington heard him, whether it wanted to or not. He didn't just sing off-key, he sang off-world. His notes wandered the way lost tourists do at airports. And yet, there was something undeniably pure about it. He sang with joy. That unfiltered, unpolished, childlike joy that most adults lose somewhere between their first mortgage payment and their 200th email. Even Molly noticed. "Dad," she said that evening, "you're really bad. But you're happy. Like, weirdly happy." Calvin knelt beside her. "That's because when you sing, kiddo, you don't have to be good. You just have to feel it." Molly thought for a moment. "Can I sing with you?" Becky nearly dropped her wine glass. "Oh dear Lord, there'll be two of them." And so it began, a father-daughter duet nobody asked for and nobody could stop. The night before karaoke, nerves kicked in. Calvin sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the song lyrics on his phone like they were ancient hieroglyphics. Becky brushed her teeth and watched him in the mirror. "You don't have to do this," she said softly. He looked up. "Yes, I do. All my life, I've let fear stop me from doing fun things because I didn't want to look stupid. But what if looking stupid is the point?" Becky smiled. "You're definitely going to nail that part. See, that's the thing about fear, it's sneaky. It disguises itself as logic. It tells you you're being practical when you're really just scared of judgment." Calvin wasn't fighting a music problem, he was fighting a human problem. The kind that keeps us from dancing, laughing, creating, because we think someone might laugh at us first. Outside, the cicadas hummed like backup singers. Somewhere down the street, a teenage garage band played offbeat drums. Bloomington was buzzing with its small-town heartbeat, completely unaware that tomorrow, Calvin Parker was going to rewrite what joy sounded like, even if it made everyone's ears ring. Morning in America, again. Pancakes, coffee, optimism. But inside the Parker household, it felt like D-Day. Calvin stared at his reflection in the bathroom mirror, holding a hairbrush microphone. He practiced his smile, his wave, his air guitar. The mirror didn't look impressed. Becky handed him a cup of coffee. "You've got this," she said, though her tone suggested she was also preparing emotionally for second-hand embarrassment. Calvin downed the coffee like it was courage in liquid form. "Tonight's the night," he said. Becky patted his shoulder. "Just don't pick anything with a whistle note." By 6 p.m., the community center was alive with folding chairs, baked goods, and middle-aged enthusiasm. A banner hung across the stage: "Sing for the Strays, karaoke for a cause." The local MC, a guy named Trent McCarthy, whose voice sounded like he'd been hosting car dealerships since 1989, introduced the lineup. People clapped politely after each number: offbeat country songs, 2 long ballads, 1 terrifying rendition of "Let It Go." And then, next up, folks, please welcome Calvin Parker. The spotlight hit. Calvin froze. Now, if you've ever been called on stage, you know that moment. The narrator chimed in. The world slows down. Your palms turn into small water balloons. Your brain whispers every bad decision you've ever made. And somewhere in your soul, a tiny voice says, maybe fake a medical emergency. But Calvin didn't run. He climbed the steps. The backing track started. Ain't No Mountain High Enough. The crowd cheered politely. He opened his mouth, and, oh, dear God. It was bad. Like, historic bad. Like, someone please call NASA because this note just escaped the atmosphere. Bad. He missed every key, every beat, and somehow invented a few new ones. Becky's face was the human version of buffering. Molly, bless her heart, sang along from the audience, waving her hands like a cheerleader at a funeral. And yet, Calvin smiled. Big, real, glowing. Here's the thing about joy, it's contagious. Like laughter, like yawning, like sneezing at a family dinner. Calvin didn't sound good, but he felt good. And that feeling started spreading faster than any melody ever could. Halfway through the song, something magical happened. People started joining in. At first it was just Molly, then Becky, hesitant, off-key but loyal, and then a few others. The crowd realized this wasn't about pitch. It was about participation. Within a minute, the entire room was singing, clapping, laughing. Calvin held out the mic toward the audience like a rock star who actually earned it. Come on now, he shouted. You know this part. Dozens of voices filled the room, drowning out every sour note. Even Trent the MC wiped away a tear. Or maybe it was just disbelief. By the time the song ended, the audience was on their feet, cheering, not because it was good, but because it was real. Calvin stood there, sweaty, euphoric, alive. After the show, people came up to him one by one. That was hilarious, said one man, but also kinda inspiring. You made my daughter want to try singing, said another. Becky threw her arms around him. You did it, she whispered. He grinned. Yeah, I really did. Badly. They laughed until they cried. Later that night, back home, Calvin sat on the porch with a cold soda, listening to the distant crickets and the echo of his off-key anthem still ringing in his head. Becky leaned against him. You know, she said, you taught Molly something important tonight. Yeah, that joy's louder than fear. He smiled. Then it was worth every wrong note. So there you have it, folks, the story of Calvin Parker, the man who couldn't carry a tune but carried an entire room. A reminder that sometimes life's best moments aren't in tune, they're honest. Because here's the truth, we spend so much of our lives trying to be perfect, trying to hit the right notes, when what really matters is that we sing anyway. Off-key, too loud, with syrup still on our shirts and nerves buzzing in our stomachs. The joy isn't in being flawless, it's in being fearless. And the next time you hear someone singing off-key, don't wince. Smile, you might just be listening to a heart that remembered how to be happy. Calvin took one last sip of his soda and looked at the stars. Hey, Beck, he said. Yeah, you think the cat forgave me yet? Becky laughed. Not a chance. They sat there in the soft Indiana night, 2 people off-key but perfectly in harmony. And somewhere inside the house, little Molly started humming, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, not perfectly, but joyfully. Because the Parkers had learned something the whole world needs to remember. Happiness doesn't have to be in tune to be beautiful.
Like and subscribe if you want to be happy and motivate.